So what is the relationship between planning and decision making? Why decision making is a goal oriented process? Because this decision making focus towards goals of the organization. Policies, procedures, plans, all the things keep on changing, hence it does not remain constant. This decision making reduces risk of uncertainty in every organization. Hello everybody, a warm welcome to one and all. I am Mr. Hemant Kumar from the Department of Commerce and Management, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, MYSURU, the Temple of Excellence. This is session 4 of the subject Principles and Practice of Management of Unit 2, that is Planning and Decision Making. So, as we know, Unit 2 Planning and Decision Making is divided into two categories. The first one is planning and second part is decision making. In the previous session, we had gone through the complete content that comes under the planning, and in today's session, we are going with the complete contents of decision making. This is the agenda of today's session. We are going through the concept of meaning and definition of decision making, nature of decision making, objectives of decision making, and also the importance of decision making. Meaning of decision making. So, what does this decision making mean? So, planning and decision making. So, what is the relationship between planning and decision making? So, as we had studied in a previous session, there is an interrelationship between planning and decision making in the planning process. So, in the planning process, this decision making holds a major part, means it is a end result of the planning process. Hence, we can say that there is an interrelationship between planning and decision making. This is meaning of decision making. Decision making is a choice whereby a person comes to a conclusion. So, here this decision making process is going to end with the conclusion. Means this decision making itself is a conclusion. As we know, in the planning process, at the end of the process, the planning is to give the end result, that is nothing but decision. Okay, so in the same way, this is a process that gives the conclusion for the problem about given circumstances and situation. So, it totally depends upon, all the decisions depends upon circumstances and situation. Based on the circumstances and situations, we are supposed to take the right decision at a right time in terms of organization. And also, it represents the course of behavior or action about what one is expected to do or not to do. So, it is going to represent the course of behavior. So, it is going to project the course of behavior, how we are supposed to take the decision, which one we are supposed to select and which one we are supposed to reject, on which path we are supposed to go, which we are going to consider, which we are not going to consider, what to do and what not to do. Decision making may be therefore be defined as a selection of one course of action for two or more alternative courses of action. Therefore, decisions are selection of one course of action for the two or more alternative courses of action. So, as we had studied in the planning process, it is a decision making is a course of action where we are going to evaluate the alternative course of action to make the decision, to bring the end result of the planning process. Hence, we are going to evaluate all the alternative course of action to bring the end result, into action. Therefore, this decision making is defined as a selection of one course of action from two or more alternative course of action. As we had studied in the planning process, so there are two or more alternative course of action of which we are supposed to evaluate the alternative course of action, and we have to come for the end decision. That is decision making. Thus, it involves a choice making activity. So, it is a choice making activity because we are going to compare one alternative course of action with another alternative course of action, of which we are going to decide finally which course of action that we are supposed to select for the implementation. And hence we can say that it is a choice making activity and choice decision over action or inaction. So it is going to make the decision over action or inaction. Decision making is the process of evaluating alternatives and selecting a action. So as I had explained, so it is a course of action that is going to evaluate and take the final decision, that is decision making process. It comes to the end conclusion of which we are going to face in the organization. This is a definition given by J.L. Massey. According to J.L. Massey, a decision can be defined as a course of action consciously chosen from available alternatives. It is chosen consciously. So before selecting, before we comparing the alternative course of action, we are going to choose that alternatives based on some criteria, based on the advantages, based on the benefits of the specific thing, based on the accomplishment of the objectives. So these are the criteria that we are going to manage to make the decision for the purpose of desired result. So what is the main intention of this decision is we are going to make desired result. It is not actually result, it is a desired result. Nature of decision making. First one is decision making is a goal oriented process. Why decision making is a goal oriented process? Because this decision making focus towards goals of the organization. It is the implementation of decisions to reach the desired goals of the organization, and hence we can say that it is a goal oriented process. As we know, the management is also goal oriented process, planning is also goal oriented process. In the same way, this decision making is also goal oriented process. And also, decision making is a process of selection. So how the decision making can be process of selection? Because as we know, in the process of planning, so there are number of alternatives of which we are going to choose any one alternatives for the course of action. We are supposed to compare one alternative course of action with other alternative course of action, and also to get the end result. So this, it is a process of selection. So we are going to choose a alternative among all the alternatives that is available, right? So it is a process of selection. And also this decision making is based on rational thinking, because before consideration of any result we are supposed to go with the rational thinking. As we know, this decision making is a process of thinking rather than doing. So it is a process of rational thinking, where it is going to consider some data, where it is going to predict the future. It is a continuous activity. It is a continuous process. There is a continuity. There is no end for the decisions. So as we know, in the management, in each and every organization, there are a number of problems of which we are supposed to take number of decisions to sort out the problems. Hence we can say that this decision making is a continuous activity, and management is also continuous activity, planning is also continuous activity. There will be a continuity among the process. It is a situational process. So as we know, a single formula cannot solve all the problems. In the same way, a single decision cannot be applied for all the situation. The manager used to take the right decision at a right situation. It totally depends upon the situation, circumstances of which he is supposed to make decisions. Hence we can say that this decision making is a situational process. Based on the situation that we are supposed to make a decision. It requires commitment. What kind of commitment that this decision making requires? What kind of commitment does decision making requires? It have its own commitment towards organization, own commitment about its employees, own commitment about the levels of management. As we know, it have the requirement. And also decision making requires commitment. So there are number of commitments that the organization have, of which it is supposed to reach its commitments. In the same way, what are the commitments of the organization? So it may be towards the management, it may be towards the sales, it may be towards the resources of the organization, and also all the functions of organization. So to meet all the commitments of organization, this decision making is very important. It is a kind of decision making. It is a end result. So as I said, it is a end result of a process of planning. So there is a interrelationship between planning and decision making. Hence we can say that decision making is a end result of process of planning. Objectives of decision making. So these are the objectives of decision making. First one is identifying goals. So as we know, the decision making is a process of identification of goals. Based on the goals that we are supposed to make the decision, hence we can say that it is the objective of decision making is identification of goals. Efficient utilization of resources. So what happens if we efficiently utilize all the resources of the organization? As we know, there are two resources in organization. One is human resource and another one is financial resource. So if we utilize all the resources of the organization, so it is going to minimize the cost of production, and indirectly we are supposed to save the money. And this decision making leads for optimum utilization of this decision making leads for optimum utilization of resource and minimize the wastages. Means we are going to minimize cost of production. Proper communication. So as we know, this communication play a vital role in every organization. So there must be a proper communication between all the levels of management. This decision making builds a communication gap between all the departments of the organization, all the level of management in the organization. So they have to choose a right source of action. They have to make the right decision for the proper communication from one level to another level. Selecting best alternatives. As we had studied in the features of decision making, it is a process of selecting the best alternative. We are supposed to select the alternative among all the alternatives. We are supposed to choose the best one by evaluating each other. We are supposed to compare each other, the alternative course of action, and we are supposed to come for the end result. Next one, it is a business growth. And also decision making helps to the growth of any kind of organization. So how the growth of business can be happen through the decision making process? Because each and every step of the business, like decisions of the business, so it totally depends upon how we are supposed to make the decisions in organization. Good and convenient decision leads for the success of the business, and bad decision may lead for the failure of organization. This decision making is very helpful to enhance the overall growth of organization, and also it is very helpful to make right decision at a right time. As we know, the right decision may lead for a success and the wrong decision lead for a failure of organization. Hence, decision making is very helpful for business growth. It promotes innovation. So decision making also promote innovation in organization. As we know, our business environment is dynamic in nature. It is not static. So being in the business environment, the policies, procedures, plans, all the things keep on changing. Hence, it does not remains constant, and hence we can say that this decision making is a process of innovation. It keep on updating, it keep on giving innovative ideas for the implementation. It keep on going as per the demand, it keep on going as per the standard. Hence this decision making keep on updating as per the scenario. Importance of decision making. So the first one is Resource allocation. So it is resource allocation is one of the importance of decision making process, because it is very important to allocate the resource for the minimization of cost to increase the return of investment of the organization. And also goal achievement, and as we had studied in nature and objectives, it is a goal achievement is a main intention or a objective of decision making process. Reduces risk of uncertainty. This decision making reduces risk of uncertainty in every organization. So if we take a right decision based on proper plan, it lead for a success, and wrong decision lead for a failure. So hence we are supposed to make a right decision in all the levels of management, for all the functions of management, all the functional areas of management, to accomplish the goals or objectives of organization. In the next session, we are going with the concept of process and techniques of decision making, and also creativity in decision making. These are the two concepts that we are going with in the next session. Thank you.